our next episode of Window Treatment Friday Live. And if you are new here and have never listened to us, Window Treatment Friday Live, or how we lovingly like to refer to it as WTF Live, is a weekly series concentrated on custom window treatments and broadcasted specifically for window treatment pros, for interior designers, and those retail consumers that are potentially interested in investing in custom window treatments. And usually, my friend Kimberly Seraphim from WindowWorks joins me on these Friday mornings, but she has been on maternity leave for the last couple of months, so I have been flying solo here. Hopefully, she's coming back in the next few weeks and we will be reunited again. But until then, you get moi. And so every week, we take apart a window treatment topic, be that drapery panels, pleats, valances, mounting systems, lifting systems, blackout linings, difficult windows, challenging situations. We take apart that topic, we put it back together, we share some of our successes, a lot of our losses, and all with the goal of making you a little bit more educated and hopefully a little bit more inspired in the process. And so today, my topic is a little bit different than in episodes in the past. And by the way, we have been doing this for close to 3 years, and today is episode number 37. And so, what I thought I would do today is take a little bit of a different approach. So, we usually, like I said, talk about all things that are specifically window treatment related, that have to do with how they look or how they made or how to install them. But today I want to talk about how to manage the window treatment projects. So if you're a retail consumer, perhaps it is a little bit of a peek behind the curtain for you so that you know how your window treatment pro manages your project and how organized he or she is. And if you are a window treatment professional, whether you are a workroom or a vendor or a shop at home window treatment pro or retailer, this is a peek behind the curtain for you of my business, my personal curtain, and how we run Vitalia Inc. so that all the projects are well organized and well maintained and well managed. So I'm going to toggle over my presentation. I'm going to bring it up. I will get reduced down to the corner, but hopefully you will still see me. So the project management system that I am talking about today is nothing more than an app. It's a software, really, it's a piece of technology. What's important to know here is that it is cloud-based. It is a central repository of information for all of your team members. And essentially, what I like to call it is the center of truth. That's where everything originates, that's where everything is managed, and that's where everything resides, and out of which then you run reports. Question is, why do we need a project management system? Well, that is because, as all my window treatment pros know here, it is because our projects are so incredibly complex. Of course, they're not brain surgery and nothing, no, everybody will be fine in the end. However, we all know in this industry that there's so much to manage and there's so much to remember and there's so much to follow up on that it is difficult to keep it all in our heads or on a piece of paper or sticky notes or somewhere around your desk. And so the answer to all of that is a central place where you can house all of those newsy details, and that it is based on the cloud, like a lot of the technologies nowadays, so that you, the owner, can access it from anywhere in the world at any time during the day. And also, your team can access it from anywhere in the world, anytime during the day. So you are no longer tethered to a physical filing cabinet in your office in order to do business. You can do it from any place. So before I talk to you about specifically how I manage my projects, I first need to show you this grid. And it is our overall process flow of how we manage our projects and the different stages that the projects go through. They all start with either a measuring appointment or an estimate. And then while we wait for the customer to make the decision, they go into the stage called waiting for approval. Once we get the green light from the customer, which is usually shown via a deposit, it goes into the expediting stage. And it is this expediting stage that is the most detailed and the most time consuming, and where we all need the most help in terms of managing all these projects and tracking all the details. Once everything is done in terms of fabricating and ordering and receiving, then we go to install. So that goes into the installation stage. And if the install went well, it moves into the balance, it moves into sharing pictures with designers. And if the install does not go well, or there is some sort of a repair that needs to be done, it goes into the service call stage. So the software that we use at Vitalia Inc. is called Airtable. There are many other softwares out there on the market: Asana, Monday.com, ClickUp. There's probably many more. The one that we pick is Airtable. I've checked out all of them in one capacity or another, and ultimately in 2018 decided to, actually 1918, decided on Airtable. What I've learned is that all of them pretty much do the same thing. They all vary slightly in their format and in how to upload or download the information. But otherwise, a lot of them can really do pretty much the same thing. This one in particular is what resonated personally with me. And at some point, I also learned that you just have to make a decision on the software. You make a decision and you stick with it and you go forward and you don't look back, because otherwise, you can get stuck in the analysis paralysis for a very long time. So, like I told you a second ago, the different stages, the process flow goes from measure, estimate, waiting for approval, expediting, installation, balance, service, pictures. We also ask for review at the end. This is how my project management system is set up in Airtable. So if your stages are different, then those stages will be reflected in your project management system. So first, you need to really be extremely clear on how your process flows and what each stage is, or a bucket or a phase of the project. And then you set up those stages in that order within the project management software that you choose. This is what it looks like when it is extrapolated into the grid view. And on the horizontal setup, we have the project name, the project type, designer from which the project came from. So we at Vitalia Inc., we work exclusively with interior designers. So our referral source is always a designer. And each customer is always tethered to a designer so that we are never unsure or forgetful or confused about who referred that customer to us. If you are a window treatment pro who works with retail consumers and you get your leads from other sources, like maybe it is a paint store or a builder, retail, real estate agent, or maybe it is a postcard or it's a home show. So the various marketing initiatives that you do and the various ways that you intake that customer, this is what you would capture in this column, referral source. Then we have a whole column for expediting tasks. You're seeing it blank right now because I'm showing you the extrapolation of the measure stage. So at measuring, we don't really have any expediting tasks yet, but we will later on. Next column is signature. We capture all of our detailed orders. We capture the signature for all of our detailed orders as a way of approval of them. Next column is when was the last time we updated the customer. Next is who our contact is. The next column is the date of the install. And the final column in this view is notes. It is in this column that we capture a lot of the when was the estimate sent, what kind of response did we receive from the designer or the client, what is our next step. So this is your horizontal setup. In the project step column, I wanted to show you the drop-down menu for all the different stages that I just mentioned earlier. Actually, I mentioned it a couple of times. Measure, estimate, waiting for approval, expediting, installation, balance, and so forth. So when the project is ready to be measured, then you put it into the measure stage. Once it has been measured and it is ready to be, let's say, expedited because you received the deposit, we just click on this drop-down menu, pick the respective stage, and the project automatically moves to that stage. So this project management system, the software, which I customized specifically for Vitalia Inc. and for the window treatment business, it didn't have any of these options or any of these drop-down menus. So the options I had to create for myself, but the drop-down menu capability was available, and I am taking advantage of it so that I never forget what stage is available to me. I am never confused about what to do next. It is because of these drop-down menus that they kind of offer up the next option to me. Quick commercial break for a second. I wanted to let you know that we have Vitalia Inc., my company. Vitalia Inc. is a custom window treatment business exclusively for interior designers. And if you're a designer who wants to have more ideas to show to your clients, we put together this specific lookbook for you. It is curated and filled with inspiration and education, and we call it 37 and a half window treatment ideas to use immediately, steal swipe, and make your own on your next design project. And actually, I skipped through it, but let me just go back real quick because my friend Kimberly also has a free gift for you. It is a report. It is called 10 Things to Know About Custom Window Treatments. Save time, money, and heartache, and download your free guide today. You can get both of these reports on our respective websites. This report, 10 Things to Know, you can get at windowworksnewjersey.com, and it is targeted towards the retail consumer who is interested to learn more about window treatments. Think of it as Custom Window Treatments 101. And this report with the 37 and a half window treatment ideas for interior designers, and if you're a consumer, you absolutely are welcome to look at it as well. This one you can get on our website, which is vitaliainc.com. Okay, so next we go to the expediting stage. That's what I want to show you. And this is where it gets really fun and really interesting. You can see how filled out this report becomes. And that is because the project has gone through all the preliminary stages, like the measuring, like the estimate. We waited for it to get approved, and now it is finally approved. We got the deposit, we got the green light, and this is the time for us to truly go to work, which means that we put together the detailed order. Then we take all the tasks associated with that order and we input them into this software. So we know that the trim needs to be ordered, the fabric A, B, and C need to be ordered, hardware A and B need to be ordered, hard goods, blinds, shades, shutters, they need to be ordered. Then the production order needs to be done. Fabrication needs to be complete. So all of those tasks are captured right here in the middle of the screen under the heading of expediting tasks. And later in the, or rather to the right of the report, you can see how we're starting to capture the rest of the information. Yes, we captured this signature, and this customer was updated on this date, and the install is targeted for this date. And all of these different notes that we have here, when the deposit was received, when the fabric was received, or maybe was on back order, when the measure was done. So this is an extrapolated view for you of how we capture all of the details. Again, this business is extremely fraught with all sorts of details and all sorts of things that you need to track. And it's very easy to forget. It's very easy for them to slip through the cracks. And it's easy for us to get overwhelmed if we keep all of it in our heads. It is these types of softwares that allow us to capture it right there in the central place and get it all out of our heads. Okay, our expediting tasks, I'm showing you here a screen of how the expediting tasks are captured. So we have the order component, so that would be trim. The task would be, there's a drop down menu for that, and it would be to place the order or to confirm the order or to receive the order. And the task status is usually either open or complete. And so here I'm showing you how all of these actually get filled out. So for the order component, these are all the different components that I have populated the software with. It is over the years, I know that we need batons, or we need grommets, or we need trim, or we need foam. And it's not like I populated it comprehensively all at once in one day. I may have thought of 10 things, and as the time went on and we needed something else and we didn't have that captured, then we added that in. So it's very simple to add in the new component and to track that component as it comes up. Another super quick commercial break. If you guys are new here, you have never listened to us before, welcome. You are listening to Window Treatment Friday Live. It is a live version of something that started on the Well Designed podcast with Luann Nigara. Luann Nigara is an extremely well-known persona in our window treatment and interior design industry. She also happens to be my own business coach and a very dear friend. She pulled me in to do a special series on her Well Designed Business podcast, and we called it Window Treatment Friday. And there on this podcast, we talked about the business aspects of window treatments. And if that one podcast wasn't enough, Luann decided to start another podcast, and that one is called Window Treatment for Profit. The Well Designed Business is targeted for interior designers. The Window Treatment for Profit is, as you have guessed, targeted to window treatment pros. You could be a retailer, a shop at home pro, a workroom, big workroom, small workroom, a vendor, an installer. If you are any of those categories in the window treatment business, then this podcast is for you. And I have an honor and a privilege of having a recurring host spot every Thursday. I come out with a short, quick, but oh so mighty tip that lasts all of about 10 minutes, where I share with you another technique, another resource, another strategy for you to implement in your business in order to make yourself that much better as an entrepreneur and a window treatment professional. So make sure to catch those episodes and download that podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. So back to our expediting tasks and our project management system, which we host in Airtable. In case you were thinking that we only do that online and on the computer and on the screen, for those of you who love paper, and by the way, I don't do everything online. We do print some things out. And so this is an example of, we capture all those details online, but every Monday afternoon, we print out a report and we sit down for about 2 to 3 hours, and we go through every single project line by line and see what the latest status is, what our next step is, and whose responsibility it is to take on the next step. Now, onto the reports that are available after you've captured all of that information. So it's a wonderful thing to have the software and this whole system in order to dump everything out of your head and onto the cloud, and track all of that on a daily basis so that everything is up to date. And it's a wonderful thing to not have to remember and not have to forget, or not have to page through your notes, and not have to come into the office and again be tethered to your physical files. But there are other benefits to this, and that is, one of them is customer communication. So you can create a report by, let's say, a referral source, or you can create a report by customer and send a link to the report to that customer or the referral source. That way, there are never any confusion. There is never any unknowns about what is the status of project X, and did you receive the fabric on project B, and how soon will project C get installed. You send out this link to your either designer or referral source or the customer directly, and it's full transparency, and they can see exactly what you see and exactly where you stand status wise on that project. Now, I understand that it can be a little tricky and a little bit nerve wracking if you're not on top of your project, and maybe if you don't want to necessarily show everyone your back end and your dirty laundry, if you will. However, I have to tell you that we have been doing this for the last 5 years or so, and with some practice and some dedication and resilience, you really get into the habit of populating all the available information into these fields. And you become so organized that it only makes sense to be as transparent as possible with the customer, because ultimately it cuts down on the time and the stress and the interruptions that otherwise the emails and the phone calls take, so that you can separately communicate all of these statuses to your constituents, if you will. So customer communication here is really key. The next benefit in terms of reporting is you can quickly run a report on your active referral sources. So for Vitalia Inc., interior designers are our primary referral source. 95% of our business comes from interior designers. We do business exclusively with this trade and love doing so. But if you have other referral sources, that's totally cool. In either case, you can run a report that shows you who are your active referral sources are. Now, this came in extremely handy when a couple of years ago, we had a very unfortunate event in our studio. We had a fire. We lost a lot of the work that has been completed. We also lost a lot of the goods that have been ordered and a lot of the fabrics that were waiting to be fabricated. And so the first step that I had to do is run this report to know exactly whose fabrics we were housing at that particular moment, so that I can make personal phone calls to all of these designers, tell them what happened, and also ensure them that I will reorder their fabrics, we will remake their merchandise, and we will be back in contact with them about the status and how soon all of that will happen. Had I not had this report, I would have had to go back to my physical files or emails to figure out who we had active projects with. And maybe some of it would have been by memory, but definitely a lot of it would have slipped through the cracks, especially under duress and especially in a devastating situation like loss, like fire. And in the case of fire, it probably would have been even a miracle if those filing cabinets with all of those paper files even survived an event like that. So again, yet another feather in the cap of putting everything onto the cloud and having everything centralized for anyone to be able to access. Next benefit of this type of project management system is this report. We call it the Expediting Tasks Report. Here we can see in no uncertain terms which orders need to be confirmed, which orders need to be placed, and which orders need to be received. This essentially becomes a to-do list for my general manager, whose responsibility it is to perform all of these tasks. Instead of going through all the active files that she has, or even in the master view that I showed you earlier, through all the projects, she can have a very dedicated and extrapolated view of only the open tasks, only those that need to be completed, that are on her to-do list. So it saves time, saves energy, gives visibility to me as the CEO and the owner of the business. If I'm not around, if I'm traveling, if I'm on vacation, if I'm at a conference, I can quickly glance at this report and see what kind of workload my people have. Are they overloaded? Are they overwhelmed? Do we need to bring somebody else on board or spread the tasks a little bit differently so that everything gets done, but nobody gets to a place of burnout in the process. We can also see the revenue levels at each stage of the business. How much business you have going on in the expediting, how much in installation, how much you have in balance. Again, extremely valuable to the CEO and the owner when you want to see things at a glance, when you want to have the bird's eye view of where your business stands and in which bucket, so to speak, your business is at. Not that this was grammatically correct, but you know what I mean. And so if you are a window treatment professional and all of this sounds really interesting and maybe somewhat intriguing, I want to let you know about a very special program that I started this year. I call it the VIP experience. It is an in-person, private, 2-day strategy session to get you more organized, more systems driven, more profitable, and on an extremely clear path forward. It is not for the faint of heart because it is specifically designed for window treatment pros who are driven, who are high achieving, who are ambitious, and who want to scale their business faster than they would be able to do it on their own. I often compare it to the Chutes and Ladders game that we all played as kids or we played with our kids. And there's this one ladder that goes from the bottom row all the way to the top row. And that is exactly what this program does. It shoots you straight up, bypassing the mistakes, bypassing the trial and error, bypassing the guessing game. If you're interested, I would love to hear from you. You can email me directly and we can hop on a quick discovery call. And by the way, it is during this program that I hand over all of my files, Airtable included, as well as many, many other things, so that you don't have to develop or design these on your own. Now, you're probably wondering, how is all of this integrated with QuickBooks? For those of you who might not know, QuickBooks is an accounting software that captures all the financial information. And I've just told you that we capture a lot of financial information in Airtable. So one of the extremely important points in any kind of business, if you want to be productive and efficient, it is to not duplicate your effort and not to double enter anything because it wastes time and it also creates mistakes. And so to this end, I'm happy to report that we do not double enter anything in QuickBooks. There's another special software called Zapier. It is a bridge that takes the information from our Airtable and guides it and brings it and bridges it into QuickBooks. So the financial information is still captured in QuickBooks. So you still are able to pay your sales tax. All of your expenses are captured in there. Your banking is connected into and synced with QuickBooks. You can still do all of your reconciliations and month close and all of the things. And ultimately, you can send it to your CPA. But the beauty with using the project management system and Zapier is that you don't have to double enter anything. You still run reports, you still have the financial visibility, but it's all done in a very seamless way. If this is something that is interesting to you and you're wondering how long does it take? Well, as with all complicated things, it really depends how much time you're willing to put in, how much money you're willing to put in. The version that we're at right now, it's like version 0.300, 4.0. It has taken me 3 years or so to get to this point, and I've worked on it on my own for a little while and got it to a certain point, and I worked on it with a consultant and then several consultants, and they helped me get it to where it is right now. You can certainly do it on your own as well if you have the time, the energy, the bandwidth. I personally am always of the mind where if I can pay someone else to get me there faster, I am much more willing to do that than to spend my own time, which is the only non-renewable resource rather that I have. And so if somebody is further along than me, or somebody has more information than me, or it takes them a lot faster than it would take me, then I'm extremely willing to pay for that knowledge and expertise so that I can get there faster. If you want to do it on your own, every day, 30 to 60 minutes, and eventually you will get there as well. So, your next steps, you have to make a decision, you have to make a commitment. If you are keeping everything in your head right now and going crazy, if you're keeping it on piece of paper and going crazy, post-it notes and going crazy, forgetting things, waking up in the middle of the night trying to figure it out, you have to make a decision whether you want to continue living that life or make a commitment to be in a better place, essentially. Next, my advice is to not do it yourself, to get somebody who can help you, who can get you there faster. I want you to remember that garbage in is garbage out. And so this system is only as good as the information that it is populated with. So it is either you or a dedicated person whose job it is to continuously update the software system so that all the reports and all that visibility is as accurate as possible. All right, my friends, this is our episode for today. I hope you enjoyed a little sneak peek behind the curtain of a well run, well organized, and well managed custom window treatment business. This is the cornerstone of what makes us successful. If you're thinking that you have one or two or five or 10 projects and why on earth would I need that? You are absolutely right. If you have between 5 and 10 projects or maybe 20 projects and under a certain revenue level, and you can keep all of that on a piece of paper in your head, it probably is possible. But as you look to scale, to grow, to bring at least one other person, then you need to find a way to communicate that information in a much more effective way. And it is this project management system that allows you to do that. So the choice is yours. Until then, I want you to know that my friend Kimberly, who is usually my co-pilot here, but has been on maternity leave, she will be returning soon. This is her contact information. And so if you are in the New York metro area, whether you're a retail consumer or a designer or a referral partner who wants to have more information about all of this and anything related to window treatments, this is their contact information, and look for them at windowworksnewjersey.com. If you are in the greater Philadelphia area, then I would like my company to be your support partner in all things window treatments. Vitalia Inc. is a one-stop shop. We are a go-to resource, a VIP level, concierge level resource, window treatment company exclusively for luxury interior designers ready to fly first class in the world of window treatments. Here's my information, DM, PM, email, or call. We are happy to hop on the discovery call with you to see if we're a fit, and we would love to support you on your next custom window treatment project. And now you know exactly how it is done, and now you can be fully confident and fully comfortable that none of the nudgy details on your projects will ever fall and slip through the cracks, because we have a perfect way of capturing all of them, managing all of them, and then delivering them back over to you in the nice and neat report. So whether you're in Paris or Hawaii, whether it is 11 p.m. or 6 a.m., you can always have access and visibility to your projects. All right, my friends, thank you so much for joining me today. You have just listened to episode number 137 of Window Treatment Friday Live. We lovingly dub it WTF because if you are in the window treatment industry, I know that all of us at one point or another have had our own WTF moment. It is a complex industry. It is complicated and it is really hard. It is often difficult to explain it to anybody outside of this industry, but I know that if you're in it, then you feel what I'm saying right now. You're living it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So if you want to know more about window treatments, join us here every Friday morning, because if it is Friday at 9 a.m. on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, we go live delivering yet another episode of window treatment content. And we are happy to have you here with us. Thank you so much. Join us every Friday. And until then, have a wonderful weekend. Bye bye.